Shahar, many of your products, they utilize AI. Could you elaborate a little bit more on your AI strategy and how will that impact your products in the future?
So once you also utilize the cloud, but in general, I think AI is more available to you. But in general, AI is such a big theme. It will affect every single industry we know about, everything from banking to health to media, and our industry is getting impacted by AI quite significantly. There's two areas where I would say in the short term AI is having a profound impact on the video industry. One is, as I mentioned, the world of compression. How to compress videos to a more efficient form. AI can watch millions of hours of video much faster than we can as humans and can perform better results and learn faster than we can as humans. That's one area. The other area is the whole world of streaming is intertwined with advertisement and personalization. And so the content that you watch and the content that I watch is very personal today in streaming. And also the advertisements that you get and that I get are going to be different. And that back end, the decision engine, which crunches all that data and decides who gets to watch what and what advertisements when, it's basically all driven by machine learning procedures. And so that one is a very, very big emphasis in the industry, and it is having a profound impact on the media industry. And it will be there for many years, if not forever.
Shahar, right now 5G is a big promise to the video streaming technologies and industry. Can you think of any new use cases that haven't been available due to the limits of network technologies and that will be available due to 5G deployment?
Well, 5G in the short term, really short term, meaning 2021 or 2022, it actually has an impact on our video business because governments, because of their allocation of 5G, they're allocating spectrum to different companies, to some wireless carriers, taking away from others. That tends to affect a lot of our customers, and many of those customers are being forced to move infrastructure from one area to the other. So there's short-term, I would say, benefits as a result of 5G, but that's just a short-term impact. The real impact of 5G, I would say, is in a very, very high level, is somewhat similar to COVID-19. COVID-19 basically accelerated a trend that was already in place. The trends of clouds, the trends of streaming, the trends of e-commerce. There's a lot of trends that were already underway, and COVID-19 just gave them an acceleration, like a booster. And what happened in 1 year should have happened in 5 years, but just was shrunk to a shorter time frame. When 5G gets deployed at its full capacity, not in the early deployments now, but really at full capacity, I think for the media industry, it will have a profound impact. We are in a generational shift from traditional broadcast to streaming. And it is a generational shift in the same way as landlines to mobile phones. It didn't happen overnight. It took 20, 30 years until now everybody has a mobile phone and most people don't have a landline. And that's the same thing. Broadcast to streaming will take a very long time, a generation of time. But 5G, when it's fully deployed, will basically be a major accelerator to that. And I believe that streaming will just explode even more than what we see it today. And at the same time, the negatively broadcast will be impacted by it. And I think that's really the impact of 5G on the media industry. It's such a profound infrastructure change that it will just accelerate the existing trends dramatically.
Shahar, media industry and video on demand industry are highly competitive place. I'm interested to know, how do you at Harmonic differentiate yourself? What do you consider being your main market differentiator?
I've been with Harmonic, as you mentioned earlier, for over 20 years. And I think one of the unique capabilities of our company and the people, our engineers, our technologists, our business people, our marketing people, is an ability to pivot. We have pivoted the business several times in the 20 plus year time frame. And that's not easy. There's a lot of amazing companies that start out in a certain product, disrupt a certain industry, have very good success, but they also reach a sort of a ceiling, kind of a glass ceiling, and they struggle to reinvent themselves over. I think we have a unique DNA where we are able to reinvent ourselves every few years and become relevant for the next round of technology innovation. I think that's our biggest differentiator as a company. And in both our divisions, we have reinvented ourselves several times and are doing so right now. And that's maybe a tribute to some of the very, very smart people in the divisions that are able to see the trends and make those bets that make us successful. I would say that's really our biggest strength, is just to see a little bit forward and to move to the right direction.
I would be really interested to know, who do you consider your main competitors, and whether you have to compete with any available in the market open source solutions?
Well, it's a good question. I think historically, I think the industries in general are changing. And historically, every industry, including ours, had our 4 or 5 main competitors that we all compete against day in and day out. And some are strong in one region and some are strong in one market. I think what's a little bit different going into the future is the existence of the cloud companies. The cloud companies are so strong, so powerful, that after they launch their infrastructure, basic compute, networking, and storage, they're now moving on to higher value added services. So in the world of cloud, they now are offering data warehouse capabilities, storage, databases, and so on. Of course, there are other companies, such as a recent one that went public called Snowflake, which is in the data warehouse. They're growing very rapid pace, succeeding very well in data warehouse, but they also compete with the cloud companies that they operate on. And I think that is going to be a very common theme in the industry. We're going to see our main competitors as a leading player in the video infrastructure, the cloud companies longer term possibly being our main competitors. They will offer that as a foundational service on the cloud. And it is our job to out-innovate them in that specific area and to do very well in that specific area so that we can sell on their services and also be neutral across the clouds. But I think that longer term, the clouds, because of their scale, because of their revenue, because of their profit, because of their growth rates, they are going to be affecting many, many industries and competing and partnering with pretty much everybody. And so I think that's really the long-term trend. The clouds they're going to be fundamental in our infrastructure, but they're also going to be our competitors.
My last question is about Harmonic's strategy for the future. What can Harmonic do in order to stay ahead of the competition, to stay relevant to your customers, and to deliver on the promise?
It's the one good thing about technology, I would say, is that in contrast to some of the other industries, is that incumbency. So if you have an existing customer, if you're the existing supplier of an existing infrastructure, you won't be able to keep the customer unless you continuously innovate. And so in contrast to, say, more traditional industries where sometimes you're the supplier and you can stay there for 10, 20 years, technology, if you don't show innovation in 1 to 2 years, 3 years, you will be replaced very rapidly. That is actually the positive of technology. So innovation is really the key, and it's really the only key in technology. So innovating and continuously innovating your solutions and your products is really the only way to maintain your success. If you out-innovate everybody in the areas that you decide to focus on, you can extremely succeed. And that innovation can be in the technology itself. It can also be in your sales and in your go-to-marketing and all those areas. But innovation is very, very fundamental and a little bit different from some traditional industries. But in tech, to me, that's the fun part of tech. It's you can really, really grow fast. You can also lose your customers fast. But if you innovate well, you should do fine.
Shahar, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts and insights that you were willing to share with our audience. I believe those are invaluable insights many will find interesting, specifically about cloud adoption and also new technologies that are going to be deployed worldwide and will have a tremendous impact on how video streaming and media industries operate.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm proud of you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure.